Hello everybody and welcome to this playthrough for Rookie Division for the Easter tournament here in Golf Clash the game. In this video I will go through the shots for hole 1 to hole 9 and give you my best advice with the videos that I do have. Please listen to my explanations that I will give on every hole, because I'm not just going to cover the shots that I'm playing. I'm trying to explain in a general way on how to attack the holes with different winds and with different clubs and balls. Make sure that you do hit the thumbs up button if you do enjoy the video, and also subscribe to the channel. You can do that for free, and also then turn on the notifications. For those of you that are looking to invest in becoming a better player, then you can go to patreon.com/golfclashtommy. You do have the link in the description down below, or you can scan the QR code here on the side of me on the screen, and there you can get the exclusive tour text guides if you want to improve your win percentage in tour play, or you can get the ultimate tournament guides for pro or expert or master, or you can just bundle everything together. We do have everything for everyone. We do have the info box on the right hand side, and the info box there is there to let you know what club and what ball I would suggest, together with the club distance and the elevation that I would suggest. Have in mind, but those are just that, suggestions, and you don't have to follow it if you don't want to, but there is always a plan behind it. So let's go to hole number 1. Hole number 1 is going to be a very tough par 4 to drop. The reason for that is not the drive, the reason is the second shot. Because the second shot is going to be a tricky one to bounce over that sand. First, let's talk about if we do have a straight tailwind. Then for those of you having higher level clubs and also have the possibility to play with a power 5 ball, you can go directly over the trees and bounce yourself over to the final fairway. That will leave you a short iron instead of a wood club or a long iron, and it's going to be much easier to drop. It's not going to work if you do have a crosswind or a headwind, but if you do have a straight tailwind, that's a possibility. Now, using 2 right spin and also a little bit of top spin, this to get the ball down on the fairway on the right. The closer we are to the rough, the better it's going to be. However though, it's not important to be just by the rough, because we don't want to roll in obviously, but we still want to push it as hard as we can. Medium distance plus 20 if you're playing with an extra mile, Thor's Hammer or an Apocalypse. If you do play with the quarterback or the rock, I will play max plus 20 instead. Second shot, now we're gonna bounce over the bunker, and this is the shot that I don't really like, and the reason I don't really like this one is due to what happens after the bunker. It's very difficult to control what's going to happen when bouncing into a down slope. And especially when the green slopes as well, it's going to be even trickier than to find the correct speed. But the idea with this shot is good in terms of that you can always attack the pin, but the eagle will be very rare. I would recommend for those of you that do have sniper 7 or below, which I'm one of those users, then I would recommend to pack the Guardian instead, because the backspin that I'm having here on this sniper is not really going to be enough to get the ball to stop in time. You can see what comes in, and even though it's close, this ball is never gonna stop, and you can see that it rolls further down. And sure, we have a simple putt, but in the end we do want to give ourselves a chance to drop the shot at least. And so if you don't have the backspin enough on your sniper, meaning if you don't have sniper 8 or better, then you pack the Guardian and play with that one instead. 20% elevation, true club distance number. For hole number 2, this is going to be a very good chance for a drop in my opinion, and here you can do 2 ways. One, you can go with a sniper from absolute max distance with a power 3 ball if you do have a tailwind, or you can actually play with a lower power ball such as a power 0, power 1, and you can play with a driver in tailwind. If you do have a crosswind or a headwind, you're gonna play with a driver no matter what. So in this instance, I'm using a little bit of topspin, and I'm playing max plus 20 with my sniper, aiming directly at the hole. And the reason I'm aiming directly at the hole here is to give myself 2 ways of dropping this shot. One, if I am unlucky and miss it on the left hand side, I still have a chance for the ball to roll back into the hole using the slope on the back of the green, or that I'm going that if I'm completely accurate with my shot here, I'm going right at pin and giving myself a hole-in-one that way. So it's 2 different ways that can happen there. You can see the slope actually in action in a very, very good visual way and there. So Sniper is the play in Tailwind in my opinion, but once again, as I said, in Crosswind and Headwind, we're gonna play with a driver, preferably the quarterback. And in a Tailwind, you can also play with a quarterback if you do want to play with a lower power ball. For hole number 3, this is going to be a very tough par 5, especially if you do play with lower level clubs, which we are here on this account. I know Extra Mile level 6 might not be considered as a low level driver, but what I mean here now is that I don't have enough topspin to bounce all the way down to the final fairway. I don't have the ball to play that type of shot. So what we're gonna have to do here is to lay up on the fairway on the right. I would recommend that if you do have a quarterback in level 9 or 10 or the rock in level 7, I would recommend to use any of those type of clubs. The reason for that is the accuracy, but also mainly the ball guideline, because the better ball guideline you have here, the easier it will be for you to get closer to the rough there at the top. Maximum distance plus 20 is what I would adjust here for the drive. Second shot now, if we do have the wind to go directly over the first stream of water, then we're gonna do that. If we do not have that possibility, we are going to play before the water to just bounce ourselves to be as close towards the pin as possible. I'm using the wood club with the most power possible, combined with all its topspin. The more topspin you have, the better it's going to be. So for those of you that do have a higher level wood club of the big dog, or maybe you have the Horizon instead. However though, when getting the ball down there, you will either be on green for a safe eagle, or you're going to have a wedge towards the pin. And the wedge, you know, just to demonstrate that one, use the wedge that gives you the best possible ball guideline. And the reason for that is it's going to be so much easier for you to aim properly if you do have a good ball guideline. And that's why I'm using the Firefly here to just demonstrate that for you, so you can, with your own eyes, see how easy it is when you do have a good ball guideline, also compared to when you don't have a good ball guideline, how hard it's going to be consistently accurate when it comes to your wedge play. An eagle here is more or less the thing to focus on. An albatross here is going to be a super big bonus. It's going to be more birdies here than albatrosses, that I'm sure of. Hole number 4. This is, in my opinion, going to be a very good chance for an eagle. One of the better chances we do have, in my opinion. We start with a quasar ball here because we don't really need anything better. I would like to have the side spin too though, not so much for the drive, but especially for the second shot. 4.5 bar top spin, 2 right spin. You can see that I'm aiming for the second bounce to be approximately 1 ring from the fairway and the rough line. The reason I'm aiming that far back is due to having tailwind. I do need to compensate for the extra wind push that we will be having in tailwind, and therefore I'm aiming a little bit further back than what I would do in crosswind or in headwind. Medium distance plus 10, I'm using a little bit of curl to the right to push the ball a little bit closer towards the pin, because the further right we are, the closer we are towards the hole. The ball rolls nicely out to the center of the fairway, and this is perfect because now we do have an open shot for the eagle. Now, we are forced to play the rough bump here. And the reason for that is that we don't really have fairway enough to, even if we would be playing with the Guardian with a lot of backspin, the backspin won't be enough to get the ball to stop in time to attack the pin. So I would strongly recommend to find the spins, in this case 2 left spin and 2 backspin, to have the ball guideline to go just through the hole. Leave the yellow ring to the top of the yellow ring by the rough line, to make sure in that case that you have room to under and over adjust without missing the rough or to go directly down into the bunker. True distance with a minus 5% elevation here with our sniper. And what I mean with true distance is always put your club up to max and always go back to minimum distance and judge what club percentage you're in. And that's that's either min, mid, or max distance. Now I do adjust a little bit too much. That's something we obviously take a note at, and then we move on and we do make sure to do better the next time. Hole number 4 though, once again, as I said in the beginning, very good chance for an eagle. On hole number 5, playing from front tee, I would say playing on this rough patch in between the bunkers is going to be the best way to attack for an hole-in-one. Sure, as I've said, for pro and expert and also for master, we can use the rough on the left side, but I do believe it's going to be a little bit more difficult to catch that massive funnel from that end, because we're going to either have to play with a max long iron or a min wood club. So I'm using 2 left spin. I'm also using a lot of backspin here, so I'm packing the Guardian to make sure that even in a lower level of my Guardian, I do have the backspin enough to have the ball to not come in too hot, because that's the tricky part with this one here, to come in too hot. We're playing into a massive funnel here on this rough, and that's the one that you're going to look for. And that's going to mean that the spins for you is going to most likely vary depending on what wind angle you're going to have. And that's something to have in mind when you're playing this type of shot in live attempt in the tournament. No elevation, true club distance, and it's going to be around medium club. I'm playing with a Quasar ball here, but obviously different balls select different golf balls can be used here too. Doesn't have to be a Quasar. Hole number 6, here I would honestly really recommend to play with a power 5 ball if you have that possibility. A Berserker ball is perfect, but you can also play this shot with a power 3 ball and have still a possibility for success, but it's going to be much tougher. And I will explain the difference between a P3 and a P5 ball on the second shot, because that's where the difference is going to be made. Now, adjustment is maximum distance plus a 20. It's not going to be plus a 10. So I'm going to change this directly and add that to plus a 20. I'm using 2 right spin and 4.5 bar top spin. The goal here is to get the ball here. So simple, safe drive, not pushing it too hard, and giving ourselves a nice little shot here now for the second shot. Now, the difference between a power 3 and a power 5 ball is the following. If you do have a power 5 ball, you can play with a sniper, which gives you a much better ball guideline. If you do play with a power 3 ball, you have to play with the big dog or with the Cataclysm, which will not give you a good ball guideline, because you can see the funnel here, me wiggling left and right, and you still see the ball guideline to go straight at the pin. And that funnel is definitely something we need and want to take an advantage of. And if we do have, once again, if we do have a situation where we do not have a good ball guideline, that's going to be a big guesswork. And that's once again why a power 5 ball is most definitely a big advantage to be used here on the second shot, so you can play with the sniper. And if you do that correct, you will see yourself having a good chance for an albatross. And now I'm lucky getting that one to drop for a nice one here on hole number 6. And that will most definitely not be something that everyone will get. But if you are smart and you have the possibility to play with a power 5 ball, then that's a possibility here on hole 6. For hole number 7, we are going to do our absolute very best to get over the water there in the middle. And I'm using the big topper here, as I would like to use all the top spin that I can to try to get past the trees that is on the right hand side there in the far distance. That might be in a slight headwind like this, or in headwind in general, that might be a little bit too much to ask for. Well, unfortunately, in practice now before the tournament, I couldn't get any tailwind to play with, so I did want to at least demonstrate the way of attacking the pin here in this hole, because if you cannot reach over the water, you're going to have to lay up on the left hand side, and then you're only going to play it for a birdie, and that's pretty boring for a par 4. So the wind is going to most definitely be what can I say? The wind is going to become the biggest factor here. And if you do have a tailwind off tee, it's going to be much easier. I'm playing with a power 5 ball here because I have some headwind. But if I do have a crosswind or a tailwind, I will play with a power 3 ball instead. Now, second shot, you can see here now that we do have the tree, and I can't go over the bunker, so I'm going to have to go over the bunker. I have to bounce over the bunker instead. So I'm using the 2 right spin that I do have. Unfortunately, the thorn is the wrong club to pack here, so I'm going to do like this. I'm going to change to pack the one that is called Hornet instead, not the Horizon, but we're gonna go with the Hornet instead. And the reason for that is due to the fact that we do have a little bit more topspin on the Hornet, and we can then attack the pin, because the one topspin bar here with the Thorn is not going to help anyone. We're gonna have a safe birdie, absolutely, but it's in the end a waste of a Berserker Ball when we can't really attack the pin. Medium distance plus 10. And you see here we bounce there on the side of the bunker, and I mean, we are close, but we don't have the speed enough to get there, and therefore we do need to get ourselves a little bit more topspin on that club if that's going to be the shot. So again, this is going to be a very wind dependent hole. If we do have a headwind, we lay up and we take ourselves the birdie. If we do have good clubs, or just having a good wind, we can push for it, and then we do have a short iron towards the pin. Either bounce on the side of the bunker up towards the pin, or go over the bunker if the trees are not in play, and you're gonna see yourself have a good chance for an eagle if so. Hole 8 is by far the toughest par 3 to get a drop on, and the reason for that is the slope that we're playing on here. It slopes right to left, and we're going to have to use a lot of right spin to get the ball guideline to be attacking the pin. Sure, if you do have the possibility to play with the rocket in max level, then you do have the possibility to go with a lot of backspin and go above the bunker and aiming directly at the pin. And that would be my first go if I would be having the club for that. But now we're looking to play this hole in a general way with general clubs, not, you know, the best possible levels and stuff like that. So I'm using 3 right spin and 4 backspin, aiming at the hole. And as I don't have the quarterback in a higher level, I'm going to have to guess when it comes to the ball guidelines position. Those of you having a higher level of your club, you will see a better ball guideline and therefore an easier way of aiming towards pin. Minimum distance plus 15, and this is going to be a play with a driver no matter what wind you have. I would strongly recommend a katana just to have the side spin 3 and to avoid aiming closer towards the bunker there in the middle. Hole number 9, another tough par 4 here of this beautiful course. And what I'm looking for here now is to use my driver with the most power possible. The goal here is to clip the rough with the second bounce, and therefore I'm not using all the topspin that I do have on this club. 2 left spin, and whatever topspin that gets you to have the second bounce to be just by the edge of the rough line with a crosswind. If you do have a headwind, I would recommend to have the ball guideline to show that it will bounce on the fairway. And if we do have a tailwind, I would recommend to show so the ball guideline is having the second bounce to be in the center of the rough instead. All about compensating for the wind push that you have with a different type of wind angle. Maximum distance plus 20 is what I'm playing off tee. Second shot, now we're going to play a rough bump if we do want to play aggressive, because there is an absolute massive funnel there, and that's something that we will definitely take an advantage of. If you do not feel confident with playing for the rough bump here, you can see how massive this funnel is when I'm wiggling left and right and the ball guideline is not moving away from the hole. That's what we classify as a funnel, which will give us a much easier time to drop this shot. If you do have a sniper 9 or 10, that's gonna be obviously a big bonus as you have more yards. But once again, if you do not feel confident with this type of play, then bounce on the fairway on the side, land the ball on green for a much less chance of an albatross, but it will always be a safe eagle. Because if you do make a mistake here and you miss the rough, then obviously that will cost you. But for the best possible chance for an albatross, you're going to have to push for the rough bump here. I'm not gonna say that we're gonna drop that one all the time, but it's definitely going to be the best chance for us every single time. You can see I'm very unlucky getting a 180 around the hole, but the next time I might drop it. But I would say, once again, the rough bump, best possible chance for an albatross on a tough par 5 such as hole number 9. Thank you so much everybody for watching this playthrough for Rookie Division with various wins here for the Easter tournament in Golf Clash the game. Make sure to get Ultimate Tournament Guide for Pro, Expert or Master, or you just bundle it together on patreon.com/golfclashtommy, or you're scanning the QR code on the side of me here on the screen. Thank you once again for watching, and a good luck in your Golf Clash game.